G'day folks, here's my top 20 albums from Osmose Productions. G'day folks, Jeff here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another label retrospective, this one Osmose Productions. As with my previous videos, there's the usual rules of only one album per band. I'm not considering reissues, so you know, if it came out on Osmose first, then it's in the running, but if not, nah. So I'll do a top 20 albums and then maybe some, you know, nearly made it's and some stuff that I'm looking forward to delving into a little further, and also a couple of classics that didn't quite make it. Never really grabbed me, so yeah, you might be surprised about a few of them, but anyway. And as usual with these things, this is my favourite. It's not the best 20 albums of Osmose, but just the ones that really made an impact on me. Osmose is a French label. It was formed in 1991 by Hervé Herbeau. Horribly mispronouncing his name, no doubt. Yeah, they're still going strong. I believe he'd had a distro before that from about 1986 onwards. Strangulation Distribution, where he just put out, you know, other people's demos and CDs and albums and stuff. The label's mostly black metal and has been over the years. It's had some real classic bands, that's for sure. Really helped shape the second wave of black metal, you could say. And yeah, they were involved in a couple of somewhat notorious tours as well. There was a Fuck Christ tour in 1993 of like Immortal, Rotting Christ and Blasphemy, and also the Sex, Cyber and Rock and Roll tour of Impaled Nazarene, Absu, and yeah, these boys, Sadistic Execution. That was somewhat legendary. I encourage you to read some details of that. Yeah, the Sadex boys had a interesting time, you could say. Lots of violence and craziness as per usual. So excellent little label. Honestly, I really know very little about them. They're not really a sort of I mean, they're a great label, don't get me wrong, but you don't see many interviews with them or anything like that. There was a pretty good one in that Bardo Mythology one, but yeah, they're damn fine label though, and yes, as you'll soon see, some amazing bloody releases. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, number 20, we've got Witch Christ with The Grand Tormentor. This came out in 2012. Yeah, even though it's a label known for black metal, I thought I'd start with a slightly different one. Yeah, this is a New Zealand kind of black death doom kind of band. I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's just heavy as hell and very, very thick sounding. Yeah, this is their second album, I think. This is a better sound than their previous one, Beheaded Ouroboros. It's mostly slow and torturous sort of stuff, but it does speed up from time to time and has really great bellowing sort of vocals. The art is superb on this. This is all done by guitarist Alexander Brown, who's done a squillion things like Bolzo, Cruciamentum, Mitochondrion, a lot of different bands. Appears to have like a Hindu kind of theme of some variety, like probably, you know, Shiva and destruction and the like. So yeah, very stylish little booklet as well. Nice pickies. So yeah, this is a killer band, just heavy and nasty as hell. I've yet to see these guys live, I think, which is a shame. I don't think they're still going. They haven't done anything in bloody ages. So highlights for me are probably, I think, Meditation for Sacrifice. It's just lurches from like fast death, just crawling sort of doom. Cast into Fire is a kind of short, catchy kind of banger, but yeah, still got that suffocating atmosphere. The Tomb is another ripper with a slow, evil start and just chunky, groovy kind of ending. And yeah, the last song in the classic style is just lumbering, doomy crusher, Funeral Lotus. So yeah, this is pretty bloody heavy. It's not a band I ever really hear many people talking about these days, which is a shame because it's some killer stuff. Just heavy black death doom of some variety. Alright, number 19 is Diablos Rising with 666. This came out in 1994. Yeah, this is a special kind of album, you could say. It's kind of shit, but I love it. This is Mika from Impaled Nazarene, so the vocalist of Impaled Nazarene doing vocals, and everything else is Magus Vampire Dowler, whatever his name is, from Necromancer. This is cyber industrial black metal, pretty much. So it's honestly, it's mostly keyboardy kind of drum machiney kind of songs. There's only really 2 full black metal songs on here, which are pretty friggin' killer. Genocide, I Am God is the first song. It sort of kicks in eventually and is, yeah, pretty nasty. And then Satanist Lead Us Through is my favourite song on here by miles. It's bloody killer. It's just screaming, and it's like Mika, you know, from Impaled Nazarene screaming like he does normally. It's pretty intense stuff. Yeah, this is not very well liked, this album, by a lot of other people. It has a 16% average rating on Metal Archives. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like it's kind of ritual sounding in parts. It kind of reminds me of an old label, Extreme Music, which was, I don't know, I think it was an Aussie label maybe, but put out like Muslim Gauze and a ton of other bands. I don't know, they had a sort of style back in the 90s that this sort of reminds me of. Also a bit of Liebark to it, and the Ministry influence kind of bleeds through a bit with a kind of prominent bass sound. Yeah, I think Sorcery is has some, yeah, it's not too bad, but the last song, which is, yeah, something in Greek alphabet, that has, yeah, some weird alien vocals, and then suddenly it turns into like a dance song at the end. It's odd. Yeah, this is, as I said, kind of shit, but I've had it since it came out, just mainly because of the Impaled Nazarene side of things, and it was like, yeah, what the hell. Yeah, a very high level of cheese factor, you could say. It comes with this booklet, which I still have in the plastic bag that it came in, so I was pleased that I kept this one. So it's got, like, you know, lyrics and the like, typos in there, trying to sound, you know, wise, and then it's got like a million quotes of some guy, Timothy Patrick Butler, you know, all sort of, you know, Nietzsche kind of. I mean, it has a Nietzsche quote a bit later with, you know, the classic sort of, you know, scary looking dogs, you know, man is the true killer and blah blah sort of stuff. I always found this back, which is, I'm assuming like a classic picture or something or other. I don't know, it looks comical to me. I'm sure it's trying to look cool, but yeah, it doesn't work for me. They did put out like a second album. What is it called? Industrial. Oh no, sorry, it's called. What is it bloody called? Blood Vampirism. Yeah, you know what I mean. Blood, Vampires, and Sadism. Yeah, this came out on the sub-label Cron H, which is like a sub-label that they used to put out, yeah, different sort of bands usually. There's like a couple of punk releases on this, as well as some metal ones that I don't understand why they're not on Osmose proper, but oh well. It's pretty similar, and I really liked Sadism Unbound on this. And then for some reason they changed their name to Razum. Still same dudes in the band. This is like an EP they put out, I think, The Very Best of Pain, which, yeah, I don't recall liking that one very much, so I never actually got the proper Razum album, but this one, as tacky as it is, it's friggin' killer. I love it. So stupid. And I mean, I really wish there was more, like, proper cyber industrial black metal. Like, you know, half of this isn't even really black metal other than Mika going over the top of it. But I really wish there was more, like, you know, crazed drum machine sort of style, you know, weird sounding black metal. There needs to be more. I'm pretty sure those 2 Diablos Rising albums just got reissued by Flogger Records on LP, but yeah, I think I'll just stick with my CDs. That'll do me. Number 18's a newish one for me, but it's been around quite a while. This is Disastrous Murmur with Rhapsodies in Red. This is one that I only got a couple months ago, to tell the truth, but it worked its way in pretty well. Yeah, so you can see my May collection update for a bit more detailed look at this one. Yeah, this is Austrian death metal that, I don't know why I never even heard these guys, let alone own this. It's just nice chunky death metal with an oddly loud bass for some reason. It's got a charming sort of early days of death metal. They haven't quite worked everything out. It's not super slick or, you know, too polished or anything like that. I kind of like that, and I've always loved that gory cover. Again, I don't know why I didn't pick it up. It does have a song that I'm quite familiar with, as I probably mentioned in May as well, Extrauterine Pregnancy, Part 2. Yeah, because Mortician covered it, and I still think Muki Purulent covered it maybe, or Cock and Ball Torture, I don't know, someone or other. And yeah, the whole thing, I mean, it's Austrian, so maybe I'm being a little sort of, presumptive, but it does kind of sound like Pungent Stench a bit, to tell the truth. Especially the snare drum sound in parts, but yeah, I don't know, it's just something charming about it. I love it, and I just actually got in their demos on record that I just bought it unheard. I thought, for once, I'm not going to listen to something before I buy it. Let's just take a punt. So I still haven't listened to it yet, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, just quality Austrian death metal that, yeah, they got a number of albums after this that I'll check out, but this one, it's killer. Number 17 is Inhume with In For The Kill. This is from 2003. This is a Dutch, very heavy, very intense, sort of death grind kind of band. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I didn't even realise this was on Osmose. I mean, I've owned it for 20 years, but yeah, it's not their usual wheelhouse of styles that they put out. So, but yeah, really heavy sound on this, just fast as hell, just really brutal sound. Several members are in Bile or Skull Hog, so that should give you an indication of just how heavy they are. For some reason they got two vocalists, but it works really well. I'm not always 100% sure who does what, but it's mostly sort of growled gutturals, but there's some pretty insane screams as well. I think I can sort of pick out Juiced, who's from, he was in Clit Eater for most of their time, and also apparently in Sinister briefly. Yeah, his sort of style is pretty unique, so I think most of it's probably him, but I don't know. But yeah, to me, this is just one of the peak sort of, early 2000s Euro grind bands. There was a lot of really good ones, and yeah, Inhume, intense bloody stuff. Still haven't seen him live. My mate Dave's seen him a number of times and loved him, so yeah, it's just pure brutal intensity, just nasty. Love it.
It's a fire that burns in me. Oh yeah.
Number 16 is Pyogenesis with what I consider their self-titled. I've seen it listed as Ignis Creatio as well, but I don't know. It says Pyogenesis on the side, it's good enough for me. So yeah, this is a German death doom at this point. They rather quickly changed into some weird goth, alt rock, punk, something or other. This is their only Osmose release, so it was a pretty straightforward choice. Yeah, there's the boys on the back. Yeah, prior to this EP though, just a normalish sort of death metal band. I obviously found Paradise Lost and a few bands of similar ilk, because yeah, there's a lot of their influence on this, especially the sort of attempted Gregor style leads, which are not always successful. This EP is almost shit, but I kind of really like it as well. It's got like growled vocals mostly, but it's got these just cringy goth sort of kind of ones in the background that are just awful. It also has some female vocals that are quite nice and further reinforces they've listened to Paradise Lost Gothic too many times. The growls are bloody good. They kind of remind me of Mind Rot a bit for some reason. Yeah, there is a bit of a sort of rock and roll feel to this, especially on Still Burning Fire, which is a song, I don't know, I must have had it on a compilation. I know that one really well. Maybe that's just as far as I usually made into this. Has some nice sort of melancholy guitars. Yeah, they do the Death Doom sort of thing pretty well. I mean, as I said, pretty damn Paradise Losty, but they have their own sort of style as well. The next EP, Waves of Erastasia or something or other, was pretty decent as well. And the last thing of theirs that I actually heard properly was Sweet X-Rated Nothings, their album from 1994, which, yeah, you could tell they were kind of going a bit bad, but it's still pretty cool. It's not bad. I read the lyrics the other day. But while researching this, I was somewhat blown away by the fact that the guitarist and the growler is the drummer in the band Gut, and they also had the bassist of Gut, Oh, the bassist of Pyogenesis for this and their earlier stuff is the guitarist in Gut and Nunhor Commando 666. So, total, well, they're not really gore grind, porno grind, whatever the hell Gut are. They don't sound anything like Pyogenesis. It blows my mind. I just couldn't believe it. And then after watching some of their more recent videos on YouTube, I had to watch the... This is Pyogenesis, that is not Gut. So, although some of the recent Gut stuff ain't great either, but yeah, I had to wash my mouth out with some old Gut. But yeah, Pyogenesis, this I really like. The earlier stuff is a bit bland. This is just a good era. I think I might try and track down Sweet X-Rated Nothings, maybe. Had its moments. It's a bit cringe, but I don't mind a bit cringe, but not a lot cringe. And those clean vocals are just... Jesus. Yeah. But yeah, don't watch later Pyogenesis videos. I think they're back. I think they split up for a while and the Gut guy left and the other singer, the cringy goth singer, stayed. So I haven't actually heard really recent Pyogenesis stuff, but yeah, I don't know if I want to really. But this one, I like it. Number 15 is Aussie representative Mournful Congregation with the Incubus of Karma. This one came out in 2018. This is definitely the most recent of the Osmose releases on this list. As per usual, most of my stuff is 30 years old or more. Yeah, this is South Australia Funeral Doom Gods. Very established band. I mean, they've only joined Osmose. I think that maybe Osmose put out the EP before this. But yeah, they're still there. They're still going well. Yeah, this starts with a nice sort of 3-minute intro track with just soaring lead guitars. Then the gloom sets in on Whispering Spiritscapes, which is a brief 15 minutes 42. And yeah, that's just glacially paced for a time. But then there's a quite glorious, kind of beautiful ending. The title tracks are like a really nice acoustic piece with another killer solo on it. I think it's Scripture of Exaltation and Punishment. It's about 15 minutes. That's, yeah, nicely tortured, you could say. But overall, this actually feels a bit more uplifting than usual. I don't know, there's just something really positive sounding about it, which is kind of weird, like, for especially considering how freaking heavy it is. I mean, this is like funeral doom, so it's very heavy, very slow mostly. I don't know, there's just something optimistic sounding about it, which is a weird thing to say. Maybe I'm just so used to horrible growly stuff that any nice solo, it's like, oh, it's so beautiful. Who knows? But yeah, it's a killer bloody album. I'm very much, I mean, the recent EPs that they put out, pretty bloody nice, so I'm looking forward to another album of theirs. They're amazing band. Alright, number 14 is Blasphemy with Gods of War. This is from 1993. It's probably blasphemy to some people if this isn't higher on the list, but yeah, they really completely sold me on these guys. Yeah, War Metal Legends from Canada, from Ross Bay, and yeah, I shouldn't need to talk too much about this. This is their second album. I know this a lot better than Fallen Angel of Doom, mainly because I've owned this for donkey's years, whereas Fallen took me a while to get that one. I think this has a better sound than Fallen Angel of Doom. I know other people think it's a bit clean sounding for these guys, but yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think Blood Upon the Altar is just, yeah, it's actually got a distinguishable riff in it, which is kind of nice. There's some this is like 21 minutes long, this album. That's why they had to bung on the Blood Upon the Altar demo on the end, because it was too short. Yeah, there's some really short songs on here, like, sort of there's kind of grind influences coming through. There's like Gods of War itself is like 26 seconds. Atomic Nuclear Desolation is 42 seconds, and it's got an intro. So yeah, pretty bloody brief, I've got to say. Nothing very underwhelming album cover, and I don't think you don't get lyrics, nothing. Oh well. Yeah, I really like the closer, Empty Chalice. Is probably my favourite song on here, but yeah, I've always loved the craziness of this. just always sounds like it's just about to descend into just noise, pretty much. It's beautiful stuff. Honestly, the demo stuff on the end of this usually kind of grabs me slightly more for some reason. The vocals aren't as good, I'll admit that, but yeah, the songs you can actually make a bit more out maybe of them, and for some reason, for their like second album years later, they've still got like a good number of songs from the demo. It's like, you guys surely can write a little more than that. So yeah, it's I do have this on record as well, but it's like a Nuclear War Now reissue, I think. So great album, but yeah, not really up there for me, I gotta say. Number 13 is Master's Hammer with the Gillum Nice Occultist. I don't know if I pronounced that right. This came out in 92 or 93. This one's almost cheating because it was originally self-released by the band in 92, but Osmose, as well as I think JL America and a few other labels, put this out properly in 93, so yeah, that'll do. I have the this sort of box setty thing of that album and The Ritual as well, the previous album that definitely was not originally released on Osmose. I don't know what the hell happened to my CD. I have a bad feeling it got pissed on or something. There's like a little bit out there. There's a slight discolour there, and the booklet does not open all the way because it's stuck. So I'll blame it on a cat. I have some Stryborg CDs that don't smell very good anymore because of a cat. So anyway, back to the review. Yeah, this is a weird black metal band from Czechia or whatever it's called now, Czech Republic. This is very much in your sort of first wave of black metal-y kind of style, like your Bathory, Tormentor, and maybe a bit of Merciful Fate sort of style. Certainly not your kind of Hyperblast, Scandi sort of stuff, but a lot more sort of riff-based and just plain weird. It kind of reminds me of Arcturus at times, but yeah, just a bit symphonic, you could say. I really like that crazed sort of sounding vocals that I think it's all in Czech anyway, so God knows what he's singing about, but it sounds bloody great. They also have like a timpani player, which gives it that explosive drum sound. So finally, after looking like an idiot talking about Abigor having explosive drums, I'm guessing it's just a timpani because, yeah, I watched a YouTube video and it's like, that's where that bloody sound comes from. There you go. They have a keyboardist as well in this band. There's some interesting parts. I think track 10, which is Duco Benny or something or other. I don't know. It's got a strange bit, but yeah, this is just very deep, very complex sort of music. I really should listen to these guys more often, I think. It's just unique sounding. There's very few bands that sound anything similar. I'm not sure which one I like best out of this and Ritual. Like, they're both pretty friggin' killer, I gotta say. Strangely, I own nothing after this, but I have been reading up on their third album, Slagry or something or other, which I think they changed their style dramatically, and yeah, doesn't sound like it was too promising. Then they split up for, couple of decades or something. They're back together since 2009 and released a number of albums. I've listened to whatever the one from 2012 is called, and that sounded pretty bloody killer. I might have to track down some of that stuff. But yeah, the first two albums are just something special, that's for sure. It's odd sort of music, but yeah, unique sounding. Number 12 is Sublime Cadaveric Decomposition with their second album. It's just called 2, or I don't know. This is from 2003. Yeah, this is more brutal grind. This is French gore grind. Again, another one I didn't even realise they were on Osmose until I started sort of looking up which bands were on Osmose. It's like, oh wow, I've owned that for 20 years. I didn't even realise it was on Osmose. No idea why. I mean, they're French, so maybe they're just mates with her. Who knows? But it's fine by me. It's a killer bloody album. Yeah, this is just very intense, just unrelenting gore grind sort of stuff. Kind of reminds me of, You Fuck I'm Dead, or maybe Inhume, the other nasty band on this list. Yeah, it's pretty normal sort of grind, but it's very detuned sound, and it just never lets up. It's brutal. 22 songs, 32 minutes. There is a bit of groove on this, but only very briefly. And then the blasts are just kicked back in. You know, I think it's track 10 has, and I mean, none of these songs have a name. They're all just like, well, actually they do. They have weird sort of names like XX-09-01, which is track 14. So I don't know if there's some wacky-do code there, or who knows. Anyway, at track 10, it does actually have a slower riff for about 40 seconds, and then, yeah, no, it's back to nastiness. So this is not quite Last Days of Humanity, Putrefaction in Progress kind of level of extreme, like, never stopping. But I'd say this album was probably an inspiration for that one. Yeah, the brutal vocalists, they got, like, you know, normal growls, some screams, and just these super deep gutturals. Apparently there's no vocal effects on this recording, which they make a note of somewhere. And also there's no lyrics, just growls for these guys back then, which actually kind of works in their favour, because it means they don't have to try and, you know, I mean, not that you could understand the lyrics if there were any anyway, but they don't have to try and, you know, work them around. They can just do what sounds really well with the music, so it works very well. After this they kind of, well, mellowed slightly. It's still pretty friggin' heavy, and if you played it to a random person off the street, they'd be horrified. But for me, it's their third stuff onwards is not as intense, but it's kind of understandable. You couldn't do like a third album with this, because their first album's very much the same as this. It's just brutal, punishing stuff. I will not show you the cover of that one, because, yeah, it's a bit rude. Probably would get me in trouble, but Google it. Look it up. I kind of like this cover. It's got, like, you know, decomposing child maybe, and then as you flap open, it gets more decomposed. It's like, nice work, boys. That's charming stuff. But yeah, this brutal gore grind, just super intense. I love it so much. Number 11 is Mythos with Pain Amplifier. This one came out in 1995. This is Finnish kind of Black Death sort of stuff. This actually came out on another sub-label they have, Evil Omen Records, that didn't really do a huge amount, and I've no idea why this didn't come out on Osmose proper. Maybe it was one of the employees or something, sub-label, who knows. At any rate, this is freaking heavy as hell. This is, yeah, Finnish Black Death. It's kind of got that really thick Finnish sound. It's sort of like Archcode, where it's sort of like black metal music but played with a kind of death metal sound. Vocals are mostly kind of raspy, but it's a deep rasp. This is actually a different singer than their demo, the Moulded in Clay demo, which Osmose did also reissue on this compilation of Vociferous and Machiavellian Hate, which is Mythos with Expulsion, Unexpected, and Mystical. So yeah, if you want the demo, I mean, I did also show it on one of my previous updates. It's like a 10-inch version, but yeah, CD version as well. At any rate, yeah, this is a different singer than that demo. The demo guy was a bit deeper, but a little less interesting in some ways. There's still some mega growls on this, like on Unreal Moon. And that's probably my favourite song on here. It's one that I had from a compilation, and so I know it very well. And it's has a bit of your early Impaled Nazarene first album sort of style riffing on it. Some interesting tracks on here. The Last Orgy has like this weird kind of, I don't know, high-pitched childlike vocally bits that really don't work very well. I'm not sure what the hell's going on there. Strange Things Happen at Night. It's probably another killer one on here. It's just slows a bit for once and works really well. There are a few redone songs from the demo that turn out pretty bloody nice as well. This is their one and done album. After this they did like an EP. What's it called? Can't remember. I got it somewhere. And yeah, also a couple of demos, but that was it, unfortunately. This actually has an unlisted Carcass cover of the song Putrefaction from Symphonies of Sickness, which is not listed anywhere, but naughty, naughty boys. So yeah, killer little release. I do also have the reissued vinyl, but I don't like that cover art anywhere near as much. That's just a bit more, I don't know, evil looking. And gotta love the back. Fire and a sword. So yeah, just quite underrated, just heavy as hell, Finnish black metal. Great stuff.
I name you under our God.
Number 10 is Rotting Christ with Thy Mighty Contract. This is from 1993. It's a pretty easy choice because this is their only Osmose album anyway, so I'll level with you all viewers. I'm not really the biggest fan of Greek black metal, I gotta say. Just never seemed as nasty or as intense as the Scandinavian sort of stuff. It always seems kind of muted kind of guitars, but the style, it's growing on me in my elderly years. It's slowly working its way in, and yeah, this one is a bloody ripper. I'd probably prefer the slightly more refined triarchy of the Lost Lovers, but this album's still pretty freaking killer. I'm not holding up because I have this bodgy bloody Century Media reissue. I don't even know the Osmose version. Whoops. Yeah, I can't even remember where the hell I got this from, but yeah, anyway. Has a crappy album art, so I'll put up the proper, slightly more evil looking goat art. Yeah, this is legendary album. Really nice use of keyboards on this from Magus Wampir Dowleth. Yeah, it really kind of helps set the mood and so on. I think Exiled Archangels has some killer riffs. Fugmenth the Gift is probably my favourite on here, but yeah, the whole thing's pretty bloody killer. I'm really sad I missed him live recently. I was not in the right spot to be doing gigs, unfortunately, but yeah, they just toured and played with Jungle Rot for some weird reason, so one day I'll see them live. But yeah, I promise, hand on heart, I'll listen to more Greek black metal. And I have heard good things about the latest Rotting Christ album, so yeah, I'll give it a go, I promise, kiddies. Number 9 is Melakesh with their Emissaries album from 2006. I thought I owned this, I don't. Whoops. I'll track it down, I think. Yeah, this is a kind of black metal band with kind of Middle Eastern and folk influences. They're originally from Israel, but I think they live in Germany now. Yeah, it sounds quite a bit like your Absu or your Al Namrud. I mean, they did have Prescriptor from Absu on drums for a couple of albums, so I'm not that surprised, but yeah, they've had their own thing going for quite a while. This is their fourth album, I think. It's quite intricate music, but it maintains its sort of aggression and ferocity. Very fast in most parts, really, but yeah, it's sort of well written and varied enough to kind of keep your interest. The drummer Azul was pretty friggin' impressive on this. Manages to be very busy but sort of tricky and fits well with it, which is a good skill. Rebirth of the Nemesis is my favourite song on this, the first song, because we used to play it on radio all the bloody time. Jonesy was a big fan of this band. Yeah, I think Ladders to Sumeria is another ripper. It's sort of slows slightly, but friggin' rules. For some reason they cover like a song by The Tea Party, which is, you know, like nice rock band, like good band, don't get me wrong, I really quite like The Tea Party, but not a band I expected them to cover. They do Gyroscope, which somehow works. I don't know why. I mean, the original is still slightly better, I've got to say, but yeah, you don't really expect a black metal band to cover a rock band like that. But anyway, Leopard Jerusalem's almost got like a punky kind of feel to it. It's kind of odd, but it actually works really well. I did see these guys once at MDF 2010, I think, but they had like technical issues setting up, so they didn't get to play Rebirth of the Nemesis. I was sad. I think they were pissed off as well. I think one of the guitarists came out with like a headscarf on and whips it off. They got into it. It was very enjoyable. So yeah, as I think this is their last album for Osmose. After this, they went to like Nuclear Blast, I think. But yeah, the latest stuff's still pretty good as well. I think they're still going. I think they played MDF this year, actually. So yeah, that would have been fun. But yeah, killer bloody band. I mean, but the albums before this pretty bloody nice as well. But yeah, this one, yeah, it's probably my favourite, I'd say. Number 8 is Marduk with Panzer Division Marduk. Now, I was tempted to go the classier route and go with, you know, Those of the Unlight, which is yeah, probably a better album. Plus, I kind of prefer their older vocalist more than Legion, who's on this. But this is just so rabid, so unrelenting that I just couldn't resist. This is their, what, 5th album, I think, or something or other. Getting on. Killer bloody sound on this with like really nice audible sort of bass, which is, yeah, always a pleasure in black metal. Some amazing riffs on this, especially the cascading sort of one on Scorched Earth, I think it is. My favourite song on this is Baptism of Fire. Oh, sorry, Baptism by Fire. Yeah, it's just killer bloody death from above bit. It's just so unrelenting. Love the screeching plane samples as well. I mean, this a ridiculous album, you could say. I mean, it's got songs called Christ Raping Black Metal and Fist Fucking God's Planet. Charming stuff. And it also has a song called 502, which, yeah, sadly is not a Megadeth cover. I would pay a lot of money to hear Marta cover the Megadeth song 502. One thing I noticed on the vinyl version is you get all the, you know, spiffy, lots of tanks and all that sort of shit. But on the inside, it's got tanks converging on Jesus on the cross. That's just ridiculous. Like, just this album is ridiculous in itself, so that's just perfect. And I'm really not surprised that War's We Are War came out the same year as this. It's just, yeah, Swedish insanity. Yeah, as I said, there are better Marduk albums by far, but this one just, I don't know, it sticks with me. It's ridiculous, but just brutal. Love it. Number 7 is Absu and their Tara album from 2001. Sadly, I don't know this one as well for some reason. I own an earlier, like the Storm one of Absu. For some reason I don't own this. I do own the first album, which didn't come out originally on Osmose, so that doesn't count. But this one, yeah, this is the shit. This is a Texan black thrash sort of band. Just furious whirlwind music is probably the best way to put it. It's insane stuff. It really does sound like some magical imps from another plane of existence just decided to play metal for some reason. It's just mostly propelled forward by just the amazing drumming of Prescriptor. You can't go wrong with him, especially on Mananan, something or other. I don't know. He's berserk, and the fact that he drums and sings at the same time, and I'm sure he didn't win recording, but live he does it, and it's amazing. Just really raspy kind of vocals, pretty kind of high-pitched, weird sort of style, but it's not really my favourite singer of all time, but it works so perfectly with this. There's just riffs galore on this, millions of them, and always changing very rapidly. I think Vorage, Spell 82 is a friggin' killer song. There's a few Slayer-y sounding bits as well, but and, you know, there's nice bagpipes at the start and end. For some reason, I don't know, I've never really quite followed the full Absu and their Scottish, obviously Prescriptor McGovern from there, or Russ, whatever his name is of Scottish descent. But yeah, that seems their theme for a number of albums. I mean, this has even got King Diamond guesting under a fake name for a couple of tracks on this. You really can't go too wrong with this album. Yeah, this is my favourite of theirs for sure. Like, just insane. I think they're, well, I don't know, there's been some lineup issues over the years with Absu there. I think Prescriptor's playing the stuff again, but under Absu, like APSU instead, or I don't know. He's got like a number of side projects, most of which just sound like Absu, so I'm very glad I saw him live a number of times. It's, yeah, just kicked ass with him doing it live up front with like his stylish headband. Yeah, they were amazing live, and I also got the honour to see at one MDF he played with Zamile, who I think are his backing band now, but he just sang for him, so he was just wandering around on stage and doing a slightly weird interpretive dance. It was a special time, but he sounded killer. But yeah, this album, I really do need to track that down on a copy of this, because I mean, I've had it on, you know, CDR or whatever for 20 something years or whatever, but yeah, I need a proper version because this album friggin' rules. Number number 6 is Enslaved with Frost from 1994, Norwegian black metal. Yeah, this is their second album. This is the first Enslaved I heard, and just kind of stuck as my favourite, I've got to say. None of the later progressive stuff on here. This is quite a step up in speed from the previous album, Viking or Veldy or whatever. It's a bit meandering for my taste, but this is just sharp, icy guitars, plenty of blasts from Trim, who was later in Emperor, of course. It's not all super fast blasts and stuff. There's a bit of Bathory epic sort of feel in parts. As usual, it's got, you know, amazing bloody production by Python or Pitten, whatever his name is, from Grieg Holland in Norway. Just the place of dreams of amazing sounding albums. I think Loki, the first sort of kind of proper song, is, yeah, it's a ripper. And I mean, starts off pretty bloody good. Fenris has a killer riff in it, and Svartvidder. It's actually the first song I ever heard of these guys from a compilation. Just starts all kind of build up kind of bit, and then just kicks in with this awesome scream it still gives me chills when I hear that scream. It's bloody awesome. I think they have Yggdrasil or whatever it's called. I hate that song. It's got sort of clean chanting vocals, but it's got that stupid bloody mouth harp or Jew harp, whatever that boing sort of sound is. I've ranted about them before on some other review, and I just can't take that sound seriously whatsoever. I think it's track 7, Glimflaginen or something or other. That kind of reminds me of your early Emperor with lots of sort of keyboardy kind of bits. Strangely, I had this album back in the day. This is, you know, probably an original press sort of thing, or at least pretty bloody old. But I never got any of their other stuff until much later. I don't know, maybe I just didn't like the cover art of Eld, which is still makes me giggle like an idiot. But yeah, I mean, the latest stuff's pretty good. I mean, they're really not one of my favourite bands. They put out a lot of bloody albums, and they're alright. You know, I listen to it. It's not the end of the world, but yeah. I do have a reissue of this on record with, you know, the logo on the front and the word Frost, but tell the truth, I kind of prefer just the clean, you know, I'm not going to put a logo on there. Beautiful picture of a fjord somewhere. Plus, this CD version comes with, you know, like Frost Viking metal, probably a stolen picture from somewhere or other, but more enjoyable, the beautiful shot of the boys in the forest with their LARPing kind of outfits on. I still can never get over Ivar, the guitarist, and his you can't see it best on this. His executioner, or I don't know, he's got a whip and a sex sort of mask on or something. I don't know. Not judging. Whatever you're into, mate. But yeah, it's some special pictures. I love them. But yeah, this album. Yeah, as I said, it's not really that representative of most of their career. Like, they really did, from Eld onwards, change quite a bit. This one's a bit simpler, a bit more Norwegian black metal and progressive weird stuff. But, I don't know, it just sticks with me. I love it. Number 5 is Angel Corpse with The Inexorable. This is from 1999. Yes, US black death metal sort of band. Freaking intense stuff. First thing I got of these guys was actually their Iron, Blood and Blasphemy compilation, which, you know, is like EPs and stuff, mostly kind of average sounding. And that certainly gave me a pretty bloody good taste, but yeah, I bought this next and blew my socks off, I've got to say. It's friggin' impressive. Just intense, catchy, and just so nasty. I love it. I mean, one of the highlights for me is Tony Lorano's just powerful drumming on this. Just, I mean, don't get me wrong, John Longstreth is the original drummer, is probably a better drummer, but I don't know, there's just something so driving on this one. It's just sheer power. It's beautiful. Production on this is just miles better than the first two albums. Probably thanks to Jim Morris and Morrisound, although he did do the sound on the previous album, Exterminate, so maybe he just had better budget for this one, but it sounds a lot better. I mean, Exterminate's nearly as good as this one, I reckon. Like, the songs are probably just as good, but production not quite as good, so this one wins. Plus, I mean, this one has Wolf Lust on it, which is just a killer friggin' song. Super catchy riff, and that breakdown's just gold. Yeah, musically, they remind me quite a lot of Morbid Angel, really. I mean, they always have. It's no secret. Smouldering in Exile is another of my favourites on here, but I mean, Storm God's Unbound is just intense. The vocals on this are just pure hatred and rage. It's beautiful stuff. I mean, they're marginally one-dimensional, you could say, but yeah, it's power, that's for sure. I also have my original version of this was just this CD one that comes with the cover on the inside, but this has got a couple of extra tracks from like an EP where Abyss Winds Return and Desecration of Virgin, the old Sarcophago cover. So yeah, amazing bloody album. I mean, you can't go wrong with Exterminate. I'm still not a giant fan of the first album, and we don't usually talk about I don't know, that Lightning one, whatever the fourth one is. Yeah, one band I really have to track down more of is oh god, I can't remember what it's bloody called. Gene's other band, or Perdition Temple. I think he's done several Angel Corpse-ish sounding sort of bands, so yeah, I need to track down more of that, but this, just intense stuff. And I mean, it's pretty much a theme of a lot of these Osmose albums, just friggin' intense. Maybe it's just I'm a sucker for that sort of stuff, but holy shit. And then the next couple are not any less intense, that's for sure. Alright, number 4, and no surprise at all considering the shirt I'm wearing, Sadistic Execution, We Are Death, Fuck You. This is from 1994, this is their second album. Well, it's sort of an album, it's essentially a couple of demos kind of slapped together that was put out as an album. It's like it's a Spiral demo and a few other songs, but hey, it's freaking killer. I actually like this because it's slightly more varied than the Magus. I mean, the Magus came out on Vampire Records, so it doesn't count for this anyway. And it's just I mean, that was a pretty crazy album, I've got to say, but this one's more crazy. I've always kind of loved the silly sort of soundscape of Burnt Offering and Lest We Forget. And yeah, Evoke War Vomit, the slower sort of song, is this killer riff and just great moaning vocals as well. Astral Abortus is always a favourite of mine, and I probably rambled exactly the same words in my Aussie top 20 Aussie metal albums, because yeah, this one certainly featured in that. But yeah, Astral Abortus just has terrible sound. I don't know where the hell that song's from, but it's just got this oddly kind of galloping mosh riff, and then yeah, that breakdowny bit's just so awesome, such chugger killerness. And I mean, you know, this is the first album with Chris Hades doing guitar work, and he's a lot better than Claus or whoever the first guitarist was. Yeah, especially on Hades Valley is, I don't know, it's just got this beautiful sound of, always reminds me of the Blade Runner soundtrack. Like, you know, it's very atmospheric obviously, but something about it, it's beautiful. Production on this, as I said, it's pretty wavering. You know, it's different, obviously different recording sessions, and quite a lot polished, but I kind of like that it's less polished. Like Chaos Onwards always had that horrible clicky drum sound that I mean, the highlight for me really is Rock. That the singer is a maniac. Just completely crazed vocals, ranting and raving, so Aussie. It's just beautiful, way crazier than before. I kind of like that this album is kind of an in-between album from the Magus to Chaos. Because Chaos is probably more extreme, more intense, but this one is a bit more varied. I don't know, it's just great. I love it. For some reason I also have this on record, like a nice gatefold version, and some even more weird reason on picture disc. I don't know why, I don't think I've even ever actually listened to the picture disc version, maybe once or twice, but anyway. It's an amazing album. It's worth having 3 times, and I would have my very old We Are Death t-shirt on, but yeah, it's shrunk over the years, as a few of my shirts have for some reason. But yeah, I don't have don't have a lack of Sadex shirts to wear for this review, that's for sure. Legendary Aussie metal, legendary for a reason. Number 3 is the mighty Pandemonium with their Chaos album from 1993. As you may have seen, I've done a whole video on Pandemonium, so I'd encourage you to go to that one. I won't ramble quite as much as in this one as that, but yeah, that one features everything that they did. So this is their second album. Yeah, I could easily pick the previous album, Dawn of Dreams, for this because it's as good, pretty much. It's probably better, really, but this one, I don't know. This one's wackier. Yeah, so Pandemonium, very strange Swedish death metal band. Lots of weird stuff going on. I was like, you know, one of Dan Swano's many bands, as well as some of the guys from Edge of Sanity. Just insane sort of stuff. That's definitely my love for wacky stuff. I mean, as I usually say, Alchemist certainly helped that along, but yeah, these guys also really helped it along. I got these guys pretty early in the piece and just loved it so much. It's not quite as heavy and gloomy sounding as the previous album, but yeah, it's just weirdness. Songs just change at the drop of a hat. There's very little consistency, but it's just, I don't know how they do it. It just flows so perfectly. It's all sorts of disparate, weird styles. It's got saxophone through it, weird keyboards, all sorts of, you know, it's got a bit of death growl scratching in the title track, which you gotta hear to believe. It's just beautiful stuff. But yeah, it really comes back to mega riffs, like Swano, the riff master. I don't know if he wrote it all or the other guys, but it's heavy as buggery but just weird as hell. It's, yeah. Definitely watch my other video. I'm probably a bit more eloquent than I am about this in this one, but yeah, it's an amazing bloody album. Again, not really the style that Osmose were putting out back in '93. I mean, this is their second album, so obviously Herv was a fan. I mean, they had like a few EPs before the first album, so, but yeah, it really wasn't black metal or any of the more intense sort of stuff. It was just heavy and weird. It's the key word of today is weird. Oh, I love it. One of my favourite bands by a mile. Number 2, Immortal, Pure Holocaust. 1993. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this. Another second album of the band's career, one for me. That's seems a common sort of thread on this one, but yeah, this is an amazing album. Such a massive step up from Diabolical, Full Moon, Mysticism, whatever the first album is. I mean, honestly, I didn't hear that album for years, but I got this pretty friggin' early in the piece because I had it on tape, and I found the actual tape. Faded as hell, can't even see it. This is one that I taped from CD Revolution, our old store in Canberra, where they rented you CDs for some reason. I taped this on one side and Impaled Nazarene Ugra Karma on the other, and I actually noted on this that some stuff you can actually read is stuff I obviously taped off. I think I borrowed off my friend Dowser, maybe. Like an early Osmose compilation, because this has got Diablos Rising, Satanist Lead Us Through, that Enslaved song, Svart Vita, another Impaled Nazarene, like a later song, and Mythos, Unreal Moons on this as well. So this is obviously, because I listen to this so much, that's why I love those songs so much as well. But yeah, this album, just razor sharp riffing, killer drums, supposedly by a bath. Maybe it was sped up, I don't know, but at any rate, there's just such speed and ferocity to this album. It's just pure Norwegian black metal. It's beautiful stuff, just catchy and evil tremolo mania. There's even like a solo or two in it. It's just, yeah, godlike. I mean, if you like bass, yeah, I don't think you can really hear much of this, but who cares? They do occasionally slow down on this. I mean, it's mostly fast as hell. They do occasionally slow down. I think The Sun No Longer Rises is a slower sort of one. Again, amazing production from Python and Grieg Holland is just untouchable, really. I did see these guys live when they toured Australia in, I don't know, like 2006 or somewhere around there. And they were pretty good, but their live sound was geared for later stuff, which is a bit simpler. And so I think they played either On Silent Storms in the North Abyss or maybe The Sun No Longer Rises, but whatever it was, all I could hear was like triggered drums and Abath's vocals. Like, don't get me wrong, the gig itself was killer, just that one song or whatever they played off it was lacking, you could say. I tell you what, I've never seen more stage moves than Abath. That man knows how to... He works it. But yeah, this album, I mean, I do have it on record as well for some reason, which is nice and shiny. But yeah, this CD is the very old version that I own. And yeah, 34 minutes of pure Holocaust. It's just a simple way of putting it. Amazing freaking album. Number 1, Impaled Nazarene, Agrikama, from 1993. Yeah, this was actually a tough call, because first 3 albums rule. I mean, first album, Tours, Compt, Norris. You know, it's rawer, crazier, has more sort of growls and that, yeah, barnyard animal bit. The third album, Swarmy Finland Percolator, you know, it's got its loud bass and more Motorhead and The Oath of the Goat, which I love. But this... it's just the perfect mix of black metal and punk. I mean, sometimes the guitars on this are almost folky. It's sort of weird. Thankfully, this is the Nordic cover. This is the OG version where they borrowed that artwork from a Hare Krishna book. Who I was reading an interview. Apparently, they borrowed it from the author. But at any rate, Impaled Nazarene and Osmose got sued for it. Had to pay like, I don't know, 10 grand or something to get out of it. I do also have this on the wanky redone cover version that, yeah, I still listen to, obviously. But hey, this is a proper cover as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, this, I mean, the singer Mick Airy is probably my favourite black metal vocalist because of this. It's just he uses different styles, but each one just has such vivid rage to it. It's beautiful. It's throat shredding stuff mostly. Plus, I mean, this has got a nice snarling bass. I think it's Kali Yuga. It just sounds incredible on. Amazing production from, you know, Tico Tico, the classic Finnish studio that makes everything sound great. And this has just got razor sharp guitar sound. Again, like, it's not as heavy as the first album maybe, or as bassy as the later stuff, but it's just something nasty about it. It's beautiful. Highlights for me are probably the horny and the horned, with its sort of atmospheric section. Hate's another intense one with the classic sort of, you know, sample from Name of the Rose, the Lucifer, I summon thee. Probably my favourite song is Sadhu Satana, which is just pure punk black metal. And the bit when it kicks in after, like, the chorus, when he goes, "Ugh!" And it's just, that riff, perfect. Soul Rape's another killer one, and the lyrics on this, like, usually I'm not a giant fan of lyrics, but Impaled Nazarene ones are always worth reading, and yeah, that's probably the most intense Antichrist lyrics about him being the crucified whore, and yeah, plus it's catchy as hell song. And yeah, as their obvious love for Motorhead sort of shines through in that. I mean, it's even got silly songs like Gott ist tot, the Antichrist War Mix, which is, yeah, a ridiculous poxy drum machine, but it still manages to have a killer lead sort of line in it. The last song, Sadistic 666, Under a Golden Shower, even has a kind of battery under the sign of the Black Mark kind of feel to it to me. But yeah, this album, just sheer insanity. It's beautiful. I think it pretty much perfectly incorporates the Osmose sound. I think it's their quintessential album, I reckon. But yeah, definitely my favourite Impaled Nazarene album. And yeah, they're still on Osmose, so I think they get along pretty well. So yeah, amazing album. So it's my top 20 albums on Osmose Productions. This is a couple you might be wondering where the hell they were. Yeah, Samael, their first album, Worship Him, was on Osmose. It was actually their first release. Never really done it much for me. I admit I'm a bit more of a Passage sort of era Samael fan than their real early stuff. I don't know, it just doesn't quite sit properly with me. Another one, an obvious one, is Greek Legends, Necromancer. yeah, I like it, but it doesn't really blow me away. Another band I probably need to listen to a bit more, and I promised more Greek black metal. I'll give it a go. And another one was Dark Tranquillity, the Gallery, which I don't know if the first album came out on them, but the Gallery did. I think I own it somewhere. I had to look for it. I couldn't see it, but pretty sure I own it. But yeah, I don't know. Widdly diddly Gothenburg death metal just never really did it for me. There's a few honourable mentions though that could have made it in the list. One that I don't actually own. It's a I think they did 2 albums. Is The Rocking Dildos. I think it was pretty much Impaled Nazarene from their, I don't know, like 4th album sort of era, Latex Cult sort of era, doing like scuzzy, punky sort of stuff with Mika singing. You know, it just sounds like Impaled Nazarene playing punk, which is all it is. Yeah, it's gross as hell. Obviously, they're embracing their, you know, G.G. Allen. It's pretty classic stuff. I mean, Osmose also put out Driller Killer albums for some reason. They've got a batch of them, so I don't know. Maybe Herb just likes them. They're pretty good. There was a classic sort of rock solo album that he did instead of Sad X. It's a bit more normal metal almost, but yeah, I thought I owned that. Anyway, I mean, I do have the second release on Osmose, the Massacre, which is like the Colombian, I think they are, death metal band. Yeah, it's pretty good. Didn't quite get in there. But yeah, and I mean, they got a lot of war metal-y kind of bands, like, you know, you got your Revenge and, you know, this Impiety album came out. This is pretty friggin' killer. This Diocletian album came out on Osmose as well. The old Aussie Abominator did a couple of albums as well. So yeah, they're all pretty friggin' killer. There's also another one that I've got to listen to more is Mystifier's second album, Goetia, that came out on Osmose. But yeah, I don't actually own that one yet, so might have to track that down. I mean, I appreciate Bestial Mockery and their love of chainsaws as well, and of course Gehenna and their love of vomiting. So yeah, there's a lot of good other ones. You know, Vital Remains put an album out on theirs that I've never really had much of. So yeah, they're honourable mentions, and I mean, they're still going pretty well, pretty strong. I mean, as I said, that Mournful Congregation one was the newest one, and it was like 6 years old or something, but they've still got some killer bands. There's a good band called Butcher with their 666 Goats Carry My Chariot album. It was pretty fun, sort of old school, you know, speed metal or whatever it was. That Mine and Werfer band don't sound too bad. I mean, Mournful Congregation, Impaled Nazarene is still there. That Darkestra band that I saw at Dark Mofo a couple of years ago, they're pretty good. I'd be tempted to track some of their stuff down. One album that is a newish one is Gendod. I don't know, I've seen Simon from Explosive Action talking about them. It sounds pretty decent. I might check out a bit more of those guys. Hate Forest are on there. So they've still got a good number of bands still going. So yeah, I still love me Osmose. I mean, as you saw, most of this stuff was old geezer stuff, but hey, what the hell. It was a very golden era of black metal, that's for sure. So, and Osmose were pretty much at the forefront. I mean, they might not have had some of the bigger Norwegian black metal bands, but they had a lot of different stuff from around the world. You know, your Mystifiers and Samaels and, you know, all sorts of different bands. So, Master's Hammer and everything. So, yeah. Thanks, Herb. You've done bloody good over the last, what is it, like 33 years or whatever it is they've been going. Keep up the damn good work. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Not sure what the next one will be, but yeah, I'll see you again soon. Cheers.